next speaker will be Stefan Koenig. He's working at the German Federal Research Center for Cultivated Plants, the GKI, and he's responsible for the National Reference Laboratory for Nematology. And after a PhD, he worked since 2012 in different positions at the GKI. And now he's in his current position, it's in the plant health sector, with focus on diagnostic and regulatory aspects of a wide range of organisms, including Xylella up to plant parasitic nematodes. And today he's going to tell us about the PT organization at the national level, and very interesting, the challenges and the lessons learned.
So, thank you, Valerie. It's nice and beautiful that I have the possibility to show our experiences in the national PT organization. That is not so much different to this one Andrea told us about the URL, but in some points we are a bit on the other way. At first, I would like to explain why we the JKI does align PTs, and this is due to the structure of the plant health and plant protection sector in Germany. It is subdivided into the level of the federal and of the federal Länder and of the ministry. The ministry is for the complete Bundesrepublik, and the federal Länder, you can see here in total there are 16 federal Länder, and they have to implementation and the control and the measures, and they are in consequence the NPPOs, as we in Germany have in total 16 NPPO, and the ministry is responsible for the legislation to coordinate these different NPPOs and also to an international representation of this. In short, the JKI as a part of in a subdivided level of the ministry, the JKI coordinates and harmonizes processes like surveys and also the PT organization. Yeah, the JKI was announced as a national reference laboratory. That was in 2019, and it was done with the Pflanzenschadorganismen Referenzlaborzuweisungsverordnung. That was a legal act which is very short, only half a page, and this gives us the responsibility as an NRL. And according to Article 101 in the OCR, the NRL, also the JKI, fulfills the task for the coordination of the official designated laboratories in the member states. The main thing, we are responsible for testing and verification of results from testing from the federal Länder. We do some harmonization, improvement, development of new test methods. This includes also ILC for such methods and the attempt to introduce new methods into EPPO protocols, for instance, and also briefing and teaching of laboratory staff from the different diagnostic labs from the federal Länder. And we provide the possibility for participation at proficiency tests, focused on key quarantine organisms, something in parallel with this ones of the EU reference laboratories for the different organism groups, and also for organisms on risk-based surveys or priority and union quarantine tests. Mostly it is as taught in parallel to the EU reference laboratories. I counted the number of Appendix 2 species from the 2019-2072 regulation, implemented regulation of the EU, that are in total 395 organisms, and belong also to in this group of organisms is a group of complete genuses of organisms, mostly in the organism group of the insects. So the JKI has obviously not in parallel to the EU reference laboratories, 14 different national reference laboratories. They are situated on 3 different locations in Germany, hopefully works. Yeah. That is in Kleinmachnow, that is for potato rot disease. Most of the reference laboratories are situated in Braunschweig, and this for plasmoids and viroids in the vineyard is situated in Wassenheim. The spectrum of target organisms per single NRL is broken down by groups of organisms in the most cases, and also in some cases for cultivated plants habitats. There is in bacteriology also for orchards, vineyards, and for agricultural sites, for forestry, and for remaining agricultural sites, with multiple subdivisions of large groups, for instance, arthropods, mites, and fungi. And in the most cases, the officially designated laboratories are offered proficiency tests, as we offer proficiency tests to them for the same regulated organisms as the EURL does this. In total, the 16 different federal Länder in Germany has designated 13 official laboratories. That means not all of the plant protection services has their own diagnostic laboratory in place. Bremen and Saarland has no laboratory. Berlin has it at some extent. It is not accredited yet. And for this EPPO's laboratories from neighboring states have been designated for administrative assistance. Occasionally, we also invite to our proficiency testings conducted or performed by the JKI laboratories from other EU countries, but our duty is to check the competence of the 13 official laboratories from the federal states. Yeah, once again, shortly to the organisms, there is at first to mention the priority quarantine pests as Drosophilus, Xylophilus, or Xylella. There is a number of union quarantine pests with annual survey obligation. It is important to know the performance of the laboratories because we give the survey results to the European Union. There is to mention, for instance, Syncytium antibioticum, the PCM where I am responsible for, and also Ralstonia, Plagiebacter, Epitrix, and so on. Pest organisms' relevance in annual surveys without an annual survey of the EU is there auch, for instance, the Maloidogynische Tutti and Phalax, also the root-borne nematodes from potato, and they are important because they are part of the multi-annual program for surveys. Yeah, coming first to the first challenge in a legal way, the JKI has not directly an authority to force the federal Länder to participate at the proficiency testings. In most of the cases, the Länder are willing because there are no alternatives to this, and they have to do at least one proficiency testing for their organism and accreditation per 4 years or 5 years. Also it's depending on the number of organisms they are accredited for. And when we identify some diagnostic problems in this PT, there is also not really a way how to handle this. There's no definition for appropriate corrective measures, as it is given and stated in the 70/025 in point 773. And so we have decided, but it is not written down any, that we send at first a new panel for the proficiency test, as a new panel of these organisms, and that we offer, in the case they have not passed the performance criteria 2 times or 3 times, that we offer some teaching and sessions directly at the JKI with handling of the instruments, for instance, they have also in place in their laboratory. And fortunately, there is since now there is no reason to give the information of some non-conformity to any of the NPPO that their diagnostic laboratory fails the proficiency testing. Shortly to the method selection. Method selection is left up to the laboratories as comparable in the EU proficiency testings. Information on the methods that can be used is presented to the laboratory diagnosticians of the federal Länder within the framework of annual meetings of working groups for the different organisms. There is such a working group for bacteriology and for nematology, for virology, and also for entomology. And so we stay closely in contact with diagnosticians from the diagnostic laboratories from the federal Länder. And current information from the EPPO workshop is also passed on this way in terms of new techniques or upcoming organisms for PT testings. So shortly to my own national reference laboratory for nematology. That is a really huge laboratory. It consists of a single technical assistant and myself. It is important that we are approved as a quarantine station under the authority or supervision of the NPPO in Lower Saxony, because we have not the right to give the permission for quarantine stations. We offer per year 2 proficiency testings, and they are alternated every second year. So the first year it starts with PCN, and then the root-borne nematodes, Chini, Shikudi, and Phalanx. And organisms for the free-living nematodes, there is the specifications regarding preparation in homogeneity and storage transport stability is important. For the PCN, I will show you it is not really important. And our laboratory participate in our own proficiency testing in the principle of the 4 eyes principle, because the technical assistant prepares the samples and I give the preparation scheme and the number of positives, negatives, and lookalikes as non-target organisms, the panel composition and randomization, so that the technician who is doing the same work as the participants who does not know that there is how the samples are how the panel is prepared. She has only the knowledge which organisms are in the samples. So that's for true, because she prepares the samples. And preceding to the PT, very important it is to have the information that the matrix is free of potential target organisms, so that the assigned samples are with a high probability as they are assigned. So we search for 6 to 8 liters of in total 120 liters of the soil matrix for testing if it is empty. We test the used population, stability, and homogeneity. So I will speed up, hopefully. So the PT in the most important information, the PT in PCN is subdivided into 2 parts. The first part is with non-viable organisms, non-viable cysts, which are for extraction purpose. And in the second part, we give 10 samples with 3 cysts each, where viable organisms are included. That is, in the most cases, Pallida, Clopidera rostoviensis, and other Clopidera species. And of course, we search for the same performance criteria. Specificity, sensitivity, and accuracy has to be achieved by 100%, and the recovery rate not 100%, and we give a certificate that confirms the participation. And we identified that the method of extraction is not the cause why participants fail, but there is the experience of the participants most important, and also there are lookalike organisms which are not expected, like avascular mycorrhizal fungal spores, and we give us correction for correction actions only for laboratories which failed 3 times to reach the performance criteria. And yeah, the testing in myeloid clinical is done the first time in this year, and we have no results yet. And coming to some of the lessons learned, most of the official laboratories are very proud to grateful to take part in our actions, and it is important to make it short this point, because I estimate that you will get the presentation, and it is important to stay close to the participants, also to have the feedback for some failing informations and so on. So it's finished, and yeah, but unfortunately the conclusions are not completely shown, but it is too long as I have seen.
Well, I mean, I've given you 1 minute more, so. I think it's important to go through the conclusion.
Yes, I will do so.
But you will have the time.
Because it is important to have this conclusion and the lessons learned. Also the detection limit is important criteria when the participants are experienced, for instance, for the PCM, and this is we use a high level of target organisms per sample in new organisms like myeloid, and we consider also the suggestions of the participants in terms of to prove also in the upcoming proficiency testings the determination of variability. And it is important to note that a PT should not be static, it should be in some case improved more and more. It's like the accreditation itself. And we take up methods from research, for instance, for the optimization of the viability testing. And our aim, and that is most important, is not to frustrate the participating colleagues, but to support them in their very extensive task management and work. And problems in diagnostic must be identified and solved as close as possible to the ending of the proficiency tests. And the certification with evaluation of successful, unsuccessful, we did previous years. It's not anymore the only certificate that there is in participation and not the success of participation. That is in the individual documents. Now, thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Stefan.
I have a quick question. I'll just shout. Are you open maybe also for other organizations to join the committee?
Yes. We have in the last times we have 3 other organizations, and it is possible to take up 1 or 2. Also not too many, as we cannot do it for the complete union because we are not large enough for this. But for 1 or 2 we are open. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, that's interesting what you say. It's not only the availability of proficiency tests, it's also the number of participants which can be accepted because of the final composition.
And we have not the capacity but it is not only the capacity in laboratory, it's also we get no charge for this. Also, we also not want to have charge for this because it's very complicated in Germany to do it this way. And so it is transportation or such as purposes will be paid by the institute.
If I can just say one thing, so in the past, this issue of how can we know about PT has been raised. And we've never done anything. This has more been done on an ad hoc basis. So, for example, Bruno in Nancy, sometimes he would tell us there is a PT, we can open it for 3-4 more participants, and then we circulated it, but with first come, first served. And it can be very frustrating that we tell you that there is a PT, but you cannot participate because there is a restricted number of participants. And that's the main issue. So how to know? How to know? Yeah. But then it was just like, for example, GEVES, they have sent us several times the fact that they were doing PTs, and then in this case, this has been circulated via the database on diagnostic expertise to the contact point of the database. But that's all. That there's never been any proactive action on PTs from our side.
As I comment, the answers PT are quickly available on the website, so
yes, but Geraldine,
it doesn't mean that it's open to anyone.
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah, but I think people would love to have one place to go to see the offer of PTs. That would be ideal. Yeah, because you have to go to ANSES, you have to go to GICA, you have to go to NIBIC, you have to go to.
I have a question for Stefan. You mentioned in your presentation that the participating laboratory are free to choose the methods they want to.
Yes.
How do you ensure that your samples will be appropriate for any methods that will be used?
Also we have most of the methods we have in place in our laboratory. Also that's for free living nematodes. We have the centrifuge and also the Ostenbringdish and also the Berman funnel, for instance. And for the nematodes, also for the PCM nematodes, we have the spüling centrifuge, for instance, in the Meku. Also it should be possible for the different extraction methods. And what we have seen, extraction is the most crucial point. Also the species identification by means of, in most cases, of molecular testing, it's not a problem. Nobody failed.
Just a comment, in my former lab, we had some little surprises with other methods used than the one which was used for homogeneity testing and assuming value, when it was molecular ones, because suddenly your negative control turns to be positive with molecular methods. And it's going to happen.
This case, as a nematology, is not so likely because you have to extract and you see is the nematode present or not. Also for the free living ones, you can easily decide if it's malloidogeny because they have some.
But people who do it completely by molecular method, just extracting everything and doing the PCR, they can detect little fragments. And that's a really difficult.
That's the way I did in my PhD thesis with the opuscular multi function. I extracted it directly from soil without any extraction, and that's reasonable. That is a bit challenged.
Thank you very much, Stefan.